Hello, my name is Stacy Baryuka, and I am a mental health first aid instructor in Missouri. And I'm excited to bring you bite-sized lessons from Algie, the mascot of mental health first aid. In this video compilation, taken from my Twitter takeover from Mental Health First Aid USA's Twitter account, I was excited and honored to have been the first instructor in the country chosen to do a Twitter takeover for Mental Health First Aid in June of 2016. Being someone who enjoys graphic design, creativity, teaching, and presenting, I challenged myself to come up with the fun storytelling posts that I tweeted out during the week. 5 of my posts, however, included bite-sized mini lessons to give you a taste of what mental health first aid is in the framework that the course is taught. The National Council of Behavioral Health and Mental Health First Aid USA are incredibly supportive of their mental health first aid instructors and of the program itself. I hope this video inspires new participants to take a mental health first aid course near them, instructors who are out there teaching mental health first aid to keep spreading the message, and use tools like social media to help #BH365, and to anyone facing the challenges of mental health concerns in their daily lives or those who they love. So, enjoy this first video I did, welcoming my personal Twitter audience to watch my tweets, help retweet me, and get out the message. And while you're at it, you can learn about mental health first aid. I'll be back in between the segments to let you know which ones are coming next. Thank you for watching. Hi, my name is Stacy Baryuka, and I am a mental health first aid instructor. And from June 6th to June 10th, I am being allowed to take over Mental Health First Aid USA's Twitter account at MH First Aid USA. As the first MHFA instructor to do a Twitter takeover, I am honored and excited for this opportunity. Maybe a little bit scared, which is where I need your help. I need you to help share this out. I need you to follow at MH First Aid USA and at Stacy Baryuka to share this journey with me. Find out what #MHFA is, find out who this cute little guy is, and how you can help us to become 1 in a million. Watch for the hashtag 1in1m right over here to find out more. Will you help me? How can you say no to this little face? Huh? He's so cute. How can you say no? In this first segment of bite-sized pieces to give you a taste of mental health first aid, Algie teaches us the first letter is assess for risk of suicide or self-harm. Hello and happy Monday. My name is Stacy Baryuka, and I am a mental health first aid instructor. I'm the first instructor to be taking over Mental Health First Aid USA's Twitter account. I hope you're enjoying the tweets that I have posted so far, and I would like in this video to give you just a tiny piece of what we do in a mental health first aid class. So this is our little guy, Algie. He is the mascot, or kind of the face of mental health first aid. You'll notice that he is a koala bear, and if you watch my tweets, you may find out why. What I'd like to do today is to give you just a little bit of insight into what his name, Algie, means, and why we provide mental health first aid. So first aid, for physical first aid, is to help someone in an emergency until professional medical treatment can be obtained for that person. Some of the reasons that mental health first aid is important is because mental health problems are common. Every year, 1 in 5 people are impacted. Many people don't know much about mental health, and many people either don't seek help or they put off seeking help. There's also stigma in our society related to mental health. There are negative attitudes information that may or may not be accurate, etc. And people with mental health problems may not understand or be aware that help is available to them. Other professional and support services are not always available when someone is having a crisis. So it's really important to have people trained in first aid, mental health first aid, to help someone until professional help arrives, or until that person can be gotten to professional help. So, mental health first aid is built on an action plan. That action plan is similar to the first aid, physical first aid, that we learn about ABC, meaning airway, breathing, and circulation. So for mental health first aid, our word is algae, which is also the name of our little guy there. I'm going to focus today, just briefly, on what A means. So, A is assess for the risk of suicide or harm. Now, just because the A comes first does not necessarily mean that all the steps are in order. However, you want to make sure everyone is safe at the beginning of anything. So the first task, the first thing we teach you lots of information about, is how to assess for the risk of suicide or self-harm for the person that you may be concerned about. I'm not going to go into that today, and am going to direct you to become a mental health first aider if you'd like to learn more about that. However, I am going to say that if you are concerned that someone is at risk for harming themselves or others, please make sure to get them to appropriate emergency services, even if you have not had a mental health first aid course. Calling 911 is always a good option. Now, if you are not concerned that the person is at risk for suicide or harm, stay tuned tomorrow and I'll tell you what the second letter in algae's name is. Again, I hope you're enjoying my tweets. Please retweet this out. Say hi to me in a tweet or a retweet. Also, if you like my personal tweets, please follow me at STACYBRAIUCA, and I will see you tomorrow. In the second segment of Bite-Sized Pieces to give you a taste of mental health first aid, Algie teaches us to listen non-judgmentally. Oh, yeah, I'm getting ready to tell him about that. I'm glad you reminded me. Thank you. Hey! Oh, sorry. Algie and I were just having a chat. Happy Tuesday. This is Stacy Brayuka, and I am going to tell you today about the second letter in this little guy's name. Yeah. Oh, yeah. I'm going to tell him that too. Thank you. So, yesterday we talked about how you can assess for the risk of suicide or harm, and we talked about how important that was, and we talked about what the background of the framework for mental health first aid is. So today's little teeny tiny mini bite tidbit is on the second letter of Algie's name, and listen non-judgmentally is the second part of Algie's name. It may be a teeny tiny set of words, but it really means a lot. Listening is not just like listening to music or listening to the TV. Listening non-judgmentally when it comes to mental health first aid is kind of like the game of telephone when we were kids, when the message would start at one end of the row and go all the way to the other end of the row, and the message would be different by the time it got to the end of the row. And the reason that is because we don't always pay really close attention to what that person's saying. But it also, another layer of that is that we need to pay attention from the perspective of that person's life experience. We can't always listen from our own life experience perspective. We need to make sure we're really honing into what the person we're listening to. We really need to hone into what they're saying and where they're coming from. So listening is the next part. Being non-judgmental is just as, if not more important. If you've ever had someone say something to you like, you're a meanie, or you're a insert expletive here, and calling you a name, or, well, that's just all in your head, or that's just there because, that person is planting a bully in your head with that judgment that they're verbalizing to you. And verbalizing judgments to another person, like I said, you're planting a bully in their head, and that bully could impact them the rest of their life. And it goes against what we're really trying to do. We're not trying to add bullies to people's life. We're trying to help listen non-judgmentally. My favorite non-judgmental listeners are these little guys, because they do. They sit and they listen. They don't judge me, but they can't really respond like a human does. So make sure you're listening non-judgmentally. And, oh, yeah, we should tell them to come back tomorrow. And come back tomorrow when I tell you what the third letter in Algie's name means. Have a great day. Algie's third lesson for us reminds us to give reassurance and information to the person whom we are helping. Hey, happy Wednesday. This is Stacy Brayuka, and I'm here to give you a bite-sized piece of what it means to be in a mental health first aid class. And this is my buddy Algie. I am going to tell you today what the third letter in Algie's name means. So let's get on to it. The third letter in Algie's name is G for give. And as humans, hopefully many of us, especially those who want to help other people, are giving people. So we like to give of ourselves just by being in the class. So that may be a way you can remember give. But what we're going to give to the person that we're helping is reassurance and information. Now, to be careful with this is we want to give reassurance, but we also want to give reassurance that is supportive. We want to be respectful. We want to make sure we are cognizant of that person's dignity. We want to be careful very much not to blame the person for their illness. And it's sometimes easy to do. So we teach in the class some different techniques and different words and things you can do to give that reassurance and information. Some of the things you do not want to do is to tell someone to snap out of it or get over it. Those things aren't supportive, and they tend to make someone feel blamed for their concern. You want to give them hope. So you want to give them reassurance. You want to give them information that's out there available. Maybe they don't know what a resource might be out there. They may not even really know that somebody's there that cares about them. So you're giving them reassurance that you're just there to care about them, that you emotionally, you understand that what they're dealing with is hard. You want to give them hope for their recovery. You want to provide practical help. So provide practical information. And in each mental health first aid class, we give you a list of local resources that you can get someone to help them right there in your immediate area. So that's today's mini bite lesson. I hope you enjoyed these videos this week. And for Algie and I, we'll see you tomorrow. The fourth lesson in our mini bite series reminds us to encourage appropriate professional help. Hello, this is Stacy Bryuka. I'm bringing you your daily mini bite lesson of bite-sized pieces to give you a taste of what mental health first aid is and what you might learn in a mental health first aid class. I am here again with my buddy Algie, and we're going to be talking about the fourth letter in his name, which is E. Oh, yeah. So Algie tells me that if he was having heart problems, he would go to the doctor. And that if he was having maybe feeling depressed or things like that, he'd want to go see a doctor or a professional that helped him with that. So let's see what E is in his name. Are you ready? Okay. E stands for encourage. Now there are two E's in Algie's name, you've noticed, and we'll get to the other E tomorrow. But today's E is encourage appropriate professional help. So as a mental health professional and a mental health first aid instructor, this is probably the part that is most comfortable for me, but also maybe the most challenging as a professional, because not everyone is ready for professional help. But being a professional helper, I have to remember when I'm a first aider and when I'm a professional. So, as a first aider, which is not a professional, but as a first aider, I'm going to make sure that the person knows that there is professional help they can get for the feelings and emotions and concerns they might be having to help manage those feelings. A variety of professionals can actually help you with this, including your primary care doctor, mental health professionals like myself as a clinical social worker, licensed professional counselors, other mental health professionals. Certified peer specialists are available in many parts of the country, and they are great for helping people with mental health concerns because they have been there, done that. They're peers of people who are dealing with mental health, and they've been had through specialized training to help, and they're amazing resources in our communities. And then the other professional that many people know about and frequently think of when they think of mental health is psychiatry. And psychiatrists are physicians who have been trained in psychology, psychiatry, and medications for mental health. Now, in severe cases where a person might be at risk of harming themselves or other people, that's when someone may pose a danger with their concerns. But remember, back there at letter A, where we checked to see if somebody was at risk of hurting themselves or somebody else, and we worked on that. But we might have to come back around to that too. Remember, the letters aren't always in order. They're in order so you can remember them, not necessarily the steps that you go through. So there are different treatments available for depression and for mental health concerns. There's counseling, therapies, there are medications for many mental health concerns, because mental health is not just a thinking or an emotion thing. It does have biological basis, and there is evidenced research to show that. Thankfully, there is new research coming out every day with that, and hopefully one of these days we'll be able to deal with mental health concerns just like we do physical ones, and we won't have the stigma in the way. Yeah, Algie was just telling me, he'd go to the emergency room. But I told him, I said, Algie, you can't always go to the emergency room. Or some people are scared to go see professionals because there's a thing called stigma that our society puts on mental health concerns. Yeah, I know. We're just people, right? Well, and koala bears. And caring for each other is part of what we need to do to get through this life. Algie and I will see you tomorrow for the last letter of his name and for the last bite-sized lesson for mental health first aid. Have a great day. In our fifth and final lesson, we learn that we need to encourage self-help and other support strategies, which also includes remembering to take care of ourselves. Hello, and welcome to the mini bite lesson, bite-sized pieces to give you a taste of what a mental health first aid class is. This is the last lesson of the week from Stacy Bryuka and Algie. And today we're going to find out what the last letter in this little guy's name means. So let me review the first 4 letters first. How's that, Algie? Does that sound good? All right, here we go. So Algie's name is a mnemonic to remind us the different things we need to do as mental health first aiders to help someone when they're in a mental health crisis. They don't always happen in order, but they happen in order in Algie's name so that we can remember them. So the first letter is assess for risk of suicide or self-harm. We want to make sure that whoever we're talking to and ourselves and everyone around, we want to make sure everybody's safe. Then the second is listen non-judgmentally, because if we listen with any judgment, that actually can do more harm than good. And we also want to just listen because that's what BFFs, well, that's what humans do, right? Then we want to give reassurance and information. So we want to reassure them and give them hope that things are going to be okay. Although we want to be careful and not say things that don't provide that emotional support. So in a mental health first aid class, you learn different things that you can say to give someone reassurance and information. The fourth letter in Algie's name is encourage appropriate professional help. And if you are having a heart attack, you would go to the emergency room, right? So if you are having a mental health crisis, you would go to a mental health professional, your primary care physician, a therapist, a peer support specialist, or a psychiatrist, and there are a variety of other professional helps available. Today, on the last day, we're talking about the last letter in Algie's name, which is encourage self-help and other support strategies. It's really important for us as humans to take care of ourselves. If we don't take care of ourselves, we certainly can't take care of anyone else. And when we're taking care of ourselves, it also shows others how to do that. So peer supporters are one of the support strategies that we could encourage someone to go to when they're having a mental health crisis. Peer supporters are others who've experienced mental health concerns, and they can provide valuable help to someone's recovery when they're having a mental health crisis. There are also many different self-help and other strategies out in different communities, and if you attend a mental health first aid class, every class gets lists of local resources that are pertinent for your community to be able to access places and supports to point someone towards. So I really hope you have enjoyed these mini bite lessons, and Algie has been so fun to do these videos with. I really have enjoyed them. I've enjoyed bringing you this bite-sized taste of mental health first aid. But more than anything, I hope that you, right there, you that's watching, you right there, I hope you look up and look for a mental health first aid class in your area. Consider taking that class and become one in a million. This is Stacy Bryuka. I have really enjoyed this week. If you have enjoyed the bite-sized lessons I have brought to you, also please follow me at gocreatewithstacy.com. In this sense, create means lots of things. Some of the things it means is go create yourself. And also lots of other creations. So I would love to see you there. Follow me on Twitter on my personal account at Stacy Bryuka. And
continue to follow Mental Health First Aid US.
No presentation would be complete without a review and, of course, a quiz. So, in your bite-sized pieces to give you a taste of mental health first aid today, you learned the 5 parts of Algie's name. A. Assess for risk of suicide or self-harm. L. Listen non-judgmentally. G. Give reassurance and information. E. Encourage appropriate professional help. And E. Encourage self-help and other support strategies. So, knowing this, what would you say Algie would do if he found his friend having troubles with sleeping a lot, not feeling well with life, and just not enjoying things anymore? The first thing he might do is make sure that his friend isn't wanting to hurt themselves. Then he will listen without judgment, give reassurance to his friend, encourage the appropriate professional help that might be available, and encourage self-help and other support strategies. This may seem very simple, and in one way it is, because we're caring for one another. However, to learn the strategies for mental health first aid, please look for a course near you and learn all of the different ways that you can apply Algie to help someone else. Our final video in this compilation is my thank you video to Mental Health First Aid USA, the National Council, and to you for watching. Hello, this is Stacy Brayuka. I have been so honored to have been the first mental health first aid instructor in the country to do a Twitter takeover. I have had so much fun this week. I have really enjoyed being able to give you little bite-sized pieces of mental health first aid during my mini videos with Algie. I hope that you are able to watch all 5 of them. I will be putting all 5 on my personal Twitter account here and there. I'm also probably going to put those on my personal YouTube account and I will tweet that, and I will tag Mental Health First Aid USA when I do that so that they know where to find those. I have had an incredible amount of fun. When I signed up for this, I was not quite sure what I was signing up for. I wasn't quite sure what I was going to do, but as I looked to the framework for mental health first aid, that's what really brought me the idea to bring you bite-sized lessons to show you what things are taught in those courses, and also to bring you a little bit of myself, of my own personal mental health first aid. Those are my chow chow babies. They give me blessings all day, every day, and listen to me non-judgmentally, which, as we know from Algie's name, is really important for anyone to do. So, Algie has been an incredible amount of fun to do videos with, to do photos with, and just to remind me to have fun. I hope that the next mental health first aid instructor has half as much fun as I did. I hope they are able to bring you their own personal spin on what being a mental health first aid instructor is, that they get to bring you new and additional resources that I was not able to bring you this week. The plethora of information that you find out in the 8-hour mental health first aid session is beyond incredible. The community that brings that to this country is incredible. The support they give their instructors is the best support I've ever seen as an educator to someone who is instructing a program. And I just want to give some kudos to the Australian who
initially came up with mental health first aid and brought you this great program. Again, thanks to Mental Health First Aid USA, and I would be remiss if I didn't also thank the National Council for Behavioral Health and for the idea of having a Twitter takeover by a mental health first aid instructor. And again, so honored to be the first one. I can't wait to help the next mental health first aid instructor do their Twitter takeover. If they would like to hear from me, I hope they follow me at Stacy Braiuka on Twitter, my personal account at Stacy Braiuka. I would love to hear from anyone who watched me this week, as well as any of the instructors out there. I would love to hear from you guys. I also happen to have on my website, gocreatewithstacy.com, a set of graphics that I'm giving away to mental health first aid instructors for them to use in their social media. And they can get that on my website, gocreatewithstacy.com, or send me a private message at Stacy Braiuka. Watch my tweets there, and I can get you that free set of graphics so that you can help tell others about mental health first aid. Thank you so much for all the retweets, the messages, the encouragement, and just the fun I've had this week. I hope to see you in the Twitter sphere. Bye. Please go look at my website for a couple of fun things that you can find, free resources. If you are a mental health first aid instructor, if you go to gocreatewithstacy.com/MHFA, you can sign up for a free social media starter pack made specifically for you. Don't worry, if you're not an instructor, you can also sign up at gocreatewithstacy.com on the freebies page for a free graphics guide, or on the front page for a free social media starter kit. I appreciate your time, and thank you for watching.